worked in the area of peace studies, peace science, and so on, but my background is more or less, peace science, application of statistics, mathematics, of personal research, management science, and environmental science, that type of thing in peace studies. But now I will discuss not so much mathematical points of view. There are many places I am doing that, and I will give you the references later on in my email to George, so you can find out that type of thing. So today's discussion will be mostly descriptive, and but before that, I just want to give you some information, as George told me before, which will be very vital for not only for George but many of you. And I just have to say, this. Now, first of all, some points. Now, this piece, of course, the fantastic thing which George is doing, and also Africa is lagging behind. This is really the number one thing in my judgment about the initiative in peace studies and peace science in Africa. I know I've been to Africa many times, but this is something what George is doing is fantastic. Now, the peace, of course, is, I want to say a few things before I start my presentation. Humankind, religion, and civilization. Of course, I don't have to tell you this. All religion, in the Catholic religion, in Indian, Hindu religion, in Muslim, Muhammad, and then also Christian. This is everywhere, the same thing, the same story, same advice to all of us to have a kind of religion, and civilization is based on religion. Of course, and a very important thing I must say that this we have this question of non-violence and Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, as you may know, he was he tried to tell the British go away, and it's non-violence. If you want to know about non-violence and Gandhi, maybe you can get in touch with my center. I have established a center in Bangalore, in India, called Mahatma Gandhi Center for Conflict Prevention and Management. So in the future, I have done many things there for the last 10, 15 years. You can get in touch with me. I can tell you what type of thing we are doing there. Now, in the case of peace studies, peace things, there are three ways we are going. One is the peace studies department. University of Oslo, for example, when we are very famous, they have a lot of research. They have a journal, a very excellent journal, and peace studies at the University of Oslo. And you can have a look about the type of things they do, which is more descriptive and quantitative together, than peace studies. And then we have the Peace Research Society, which I organized 20 years ago in Europe and in Amsterdam, and then they are also annual meeting for the last 20 years. And they have a Peace Research Society, and it has headquartered in Essex, University of Essex, and you can go to Peace Research Society at Essex. But their work is also about descriptive studies. And the very important thing I should mention, and this is very related to what George is doing in the Catholic universities of the world, is this European called SPES, Spirituality in Economics and Society. This is we are doing for the last, I think, 15 years, a meeting, and and then this is blessed by the Pope. The Pope in Rome. Sometimes he gave a message for this meeting, and the man is Laszlo Zelani. He is from Budapest, Hungary. I am very much involved with that, with the whole idea of spirituality in economics and environment and society. We have a SPES society. This is, I can give you there is. I think you will be more interested, George and other people, about the connection of environment and global warming and peace and spirituality and religion, not necessarily Catholic religion, and other types of religions. And then this another thing which is very crucial, in which I have worked for the last 25 years, is called Peace Science Society, which I helped to organize Walter Isard. He's a very famous man, Nobel laureate, Prize Isard, AISARD. And Peace Science Society is an association for advancement of peace and conflict research. The society operates as an objective, professional, and scholarly organization without political, ideological, financial, or national bias. Peace Science Society is not a particular academic, is a new academic discipline, but welcomes and utilizes relevant work across the social and natural sciences. Moreover, the society is committed to promoting work that utilizes rigorous science methods analysis. This I am my main objective in the last 10 years and now, and also in the future, so long I live, will be on the Peace Science Society. Application, different techniques of management of economics, sociology, anthropology, and management science, and how to use, and computer science, how to use those things to have peace and conflict management and conflict resolution. But this maybe I can tell you later on. In that case, I have about about 30 books. You can wish this. I edit a book series. This I'm giving you information. I think it's more good for you. That these are the 32 volumes I have, conflict contribution to conflict management, peace economics and development, published by Emerald Publishing UK. And these are the journals. These are the different books series, volume books. This is number one in this area, number one book series in peace. And so you can have a look about the different volumes. Different volume. The latest volume will be more. Here you see here this is the volume 31. Latest one, September 15th, is called Technology, Society, and Conflict. And this is published September 15th. And then coming, two other books are coming. One is Globalization and COVID-19. And these are the different articles contributed by world famous people, and volume 32 is also the general international migration. These I deal with the question of migration from Africa to Europe, then the people from Latin America to United States, then from Myanmar to Bangladesh, and international migration is extremely important thing, and also it has a lot of complications, a lot of touches with conflict and peace, and that you can have in this book in volume 32. I know you don't have time, but I'm writing this different articles written by different people, and you can contact me to find out where you can get the book, what you can do with that. And then next item I want to say is this question of a question of here. This is we go more. These are the list of the books, and then there are two books coming out on globalization. One in globalization and this, and then number two, and then I have this. These are the Geneva meetings. We organized some years ago, 2 years ago, and there are some publications for this Geneva meeting also. I'm giving this information to you. I think it's more important for you to know these things rather than my lecture on conflict, on disaster management, which I do. But let me do this first. I organize in the future, I have organized a symposium on international conference on disaster management and global pandemic and its impact. This is a big thing which I'm trying to do, which will be in January 25 to January 26 on Zoom. Not only for Zoom, there will be 200 people, and about 100 people will be in person, about 100 people international, many countries, Japan and other places. If you are interested to have this, you can give that your address, email address, so that I can put it in this international meeting on conference and disaster management. Related to this, also, I'm an Indian originally, so I also have this question of a second meeting called Conflict and Peace in South Asia. South Asia. And this also between India and Pakistan. As you know, they are always fighting in India and Pakistan, and they have the atomic bombs. I have a book on the nuclear proliferation in South Asia. You can have a look. And so what I'm doing, I have people from India, and people from Pakistan, people from Afghanistan, people from Myanmar, people from Bangladesh, and those people coming together by Zoom or some in person in my institute and Mahatma Gandhi Center at Conflict in Prevention in Bangalore, in India. Bangalore is the, maybe this is like a computer center of the world, Bangalore, like that. And then before starting this, there's another thing, is the question of disaster management. About 15 years ago, I, together with many people from Japan, I organized a society called iDream, disaster management. Not only natural disaster, not only famine, not only the question of hunger, not only the question of fighting, also it's for terrorism and any kind of disaster that includes also this question of pandemics, which are so disaster management for the last 15 years, we're having meeting in different places. I'm trying to organize we did not have a meeting in Africa, but we had a meeting in many places, Australia, India, and other places, very good meeting, about 300, 400 people, iDream. And that's a great thing to do in Africa. I think whatever I'm doing here, I must say this, I don't know much about Africa, but question of this type of thing is not so much visible in Africa. But Africa is the country for the future. It will be the center of the world in terms of economic, a lot of resources, a lot of things they have. Only problem is question of institution. And these are the things which can do. And I have already talked to the international organization to have a meeting on the conflict and peace in sub-Saharan Africa, maybe in the future, maybe not in next year, in 2024, and I'll keep you informed. And then, so disaster management, and if you want to know global warming, environmental peace and Pope, you see, this is very important thing I want to take, particularly the Catholic University, I know, association, the Pope, in some instances send a statement for this this environmental thing, global warming, conflict, and he in this meeting at SPES, my friend Laszlo from Budapest, he's a man, and for the last 20 years we are having this. Another thing, I must say this at the end of this statement, that I'm not interested, I'm not that interested only in mathematical models and that type of thing, but I just also interested in the question of peace action. Peace action. We have an association worldwide called IPB, International Peace Bureau in Germany, centered. They got the Nobel Prize in Peace before Nobel Prize. And we have annual meeting, and the last meeting on is Barcelona, and we had 2,500 individuals in Barcelona on the IPB, second IPB meeting. First meeting was in Berlin, and I have a book in my book series, and this is a second meeting held last year in Barcelona. But they are more peace action. I'm not against peace action, but they are, demonstration and anti-nuclear things and so on and so forth. And they're very, very active in Europe. In Europe, they're very active. But I helped them to publish some of their books, and I was involved, not very much point of view of organization, but involved to give advice to them for the program of the Barcelona meeting. Now let me, if you have any question at the end, you can ask. And this is really the more important thing than my presentation, because these are the things which can give you information, and then you write to me. I can give you more information so that you can have. I'm more interested in doing something now in Africa. I've been to Nigeria, Kenya, and so on and so forth. But I think Tanzania with George, I see the light where he's doing. This is the place you can do in Africa. And Nigeria also is a democratic, peaceful country. We have lots of problems in Africa. I know that. I know South Africa and so on and so forth. But the statement, but the thing is that peace between different peoples. And peace science shows how the techniques of conflict management, this discussion, negotiation, models of management, and also that can be used to solve some of the problems, particularly the water problems in Nile River and so on and so forth. There's a fantastic way it can be done in Africa. Africa is lagging behind about this type of things which are going in, in Germany, in Europe, in Japan, even in India, also Japan. This is something really I just want to help, give a hand to the effort of George and other people to do this. Now I discuss, I know it took a long time, but George told me to say these things before saying my presentation. Now, then the thing is that, yes, next I go to the PowerPoint. Yes, you see, I now, yeah. I want to say a few things about disaster management and COVID-19. You see, COVID-19 I see as a disaster. It's like a disaster between, like a disaster in Russia and in Ukraine. This is a disaster between India and Pakistan, disaster between in Congo and other places. So I just wanted to discuss how, but I also see the COVID-19 and pandemic is a disaster. And at least the difficulty, the main problem is the disaster. This disaster is involved with economic situation, involved with the social situation. This has something to do with not only medical thing and vaccinations or like that. Everything altogether, food scarcity, military conflict in Russia and Ukraine. All these things, they are all interrelated to disaster management and pandemics. And my objective, my books in the future will show how you can take all this social, economic, epidemiology, and conflict and peace and poverty and a question of decentralization. All these things, they are all related because they're all related to COVID-19. In Africa, as you know, we'll discuss this in my meeting in next year. There's also from people from Cornell University, which is here nearby. They have every, like George is doing there, they have every week, they have very famous people from Africa. Many of them, those people, you know their name. There are different places of Africa they give. And you'll be surprised to see all of them, all those people, not only they discuss Africa fighting and, in between and so on and so forth, they're discussing this pandemic, they're discussing COVID-19, here. So I'll give you more information if you write to me and if you want to practice. It will be mostly will be in Zoom, but there'll be also local people, school district situation, the school problem, psychological thing, mental thing, all these things will be presented. So about, I should say about 100 people from within the United States or around the United States, they will discuss in person in Binghamton. Binghamton is upstate New York. Maybe you have never heard of this Binghamton. Recently we have a Nobel laureate from Binghamton about the battery, this is creating a revolution. This battery is creating a revolution about this the electric car. So in the future, 10 years, 20 years, 25 years now, young people like you'll see the Binghamton is the center of electric cars in the United States, because my colleague in the chemistry department, he got the Nobel Prize in the battery, William battery. And that battery is making a revolution in making electric car. And in the future, not now, maybe still is starting 20 years from now, 25 years from now, just like Detroit is the capital of the automotive industry, Binghamton, New York, upstate New York, 150 miles west of New York City, will be the Detroit of the United States in electric car. Now you see that in the case of that's why I'm saying definition of disaster is a man-made disaster. I'm very interested, but I don't have time to discuss. There are many situations where human beings are creating the disaster. Terrorism is a man-made disaster, is a man-made disaster. Business, for example, in Bhopal, maybe you do not know, a long time ago, Bhopal in India is a place in India, South India, and there was a serious problem 25, 30 years ago. A chemical factory, the Exide Battery People Company, they went there and with defective machines, and there are 500,000 people got killed in Bhopal in India. So this is also a man-made disaster. Of course, a natural disaster, disaster, the rain, and this question of tornadoes and all this water. I'm trying to put this together in a disaster. Now, as I said before, that I am not going to discuss the mathematical models about how to handle the disaster, how to before the disaster and after the disaster, how to do what are the use of this. These are in different social sciences, economics, geography, in management science, and supply chain analysis, and programming models in management science. I don't want time, and also it will not be very, very relevant for me to discuss in this particular, depending upon the audience of this particular. I do that if I go to Harvard or other places, but now you are more interested to have not so much about the mathematical models. So you want to discuss, supply chain analysis and so on. And then but you see that I told you before, I'm a mathematical statistician. I'm in a management school. I taught in the Wharton School, which is #1 in the world, a business school, Wharton School of Finance in Philadelphia, University of Pennsylvania. You see, but those people in management science, they are using the natural disaster and they are how to deal with that from the point of view of as a businessman. For a businessman, they want to know how to manage it so that they get maximum income for the company and and minimum cost. But I'm not interested in that type of approach. I'm more interested in humanitarian disaster management. That means your strategy, like the Red Cross and other places, in such a way that is a human being, the common people, the poor people, discriminated people, tribal people, how their plight, that their difficulties can be handled rather than maximizing the income of the company handling the disaster. So, and also the question of ethics in supply chain model. Ethics is very important. I mean, you have a disaster and what is happening? People who are well off, if people who are houses in a river basin area, rich people, and all the techniques of disaster management or in management science, they are applying the question of how to do better for people who are already very well off, who don't need this. People who live near the ocean, if you live near the river, people who are poor, people who are in congested areas in cities. I've seen cities, not only in India, of course, in other countries, in New York City, and also in Africa, I've seen this is not applied to a poor condition of those people. So the disaster management should be for those type of people first, rather than the people who are well off, So that's a humanitarian disaster management, which was developed in France, is another way of new direction of techniques in disaster management. I try to just tell this to these iDream people in Japan, and we have a meeting next month, and I'm doing this for many years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in India and other places. My approach, my objective is to have this disaster management, humanitarian disaster management. Same thing with global pandemic, about people who are not getting shots. We are not getting injections because people in Africa, they don't have the injection, for this COVID-19. Because all the other countries, rich countries, they're taking 2 or 3 times a year, and in Africa, nobody is getting there. You see, these are the things I'm more interested in, humanitarian management. And then I know Disaster management in 4 countries I'm interested. Socioeconomic, institutional, and political variables also in disaster management. In the United States, also a lot of politics between COVID-19 management and the political parties. And also the international organization in disaster management, like I work with also Rotary International, and also the question of disaster of the Red Cross, people, also the United Nations Institute for refugees and displaced people in Geneva, to help give advice how to use different techniques of management science and economics and so on and so forth for the people, not for the rich people, but poor people, affected people. People are starving. Those, how I can take care of that rather than rich people. That's also the statement the Pope is saying all the time, new Pope. Now, or the Pope is saying all the time, the same thing they're saying. And so this is very related to the subject matter of the university where George is initiated the question of Catholic university. They have the association. Their objective is that way, no matter, of course it's Catholic. I'm not a Catholic, I'm a Hindu, that there are Muslim people. Every religion has the same approach to help people who are in trouble. Then this question of man-made disaster, terrorism. Of course, I have published papers on terrorism as a disaster. Global warming is a very important thing. In Africa, the global warming is a very important subject. But you see, if you look at the literature of global warming, they're mostly for the developed countries like the United States and Europe and like that, but not so much for global warming problems in environmental problems and chemical disaster in southern Nigeria, and they don't have too much. So man-made disaster and natural disaster, they're also very much related. Man-made disaster at the time of national flood, or tornadoes or like that, and that being used by some group of people for their own benefit. So man-made disaster and a natural disaster, they're also very, very linked. And then the question of you see, this is a big thing. I wish I had more time. Data is over for 20, 25 years. Many people are working how the different information. For example, Red Cross, for example, the data for disasters for all countries of the world for the last 20, 25 years. What type of disaster? The beautiful data set. In Catholic University at Louvain in Belgium, where I was there as a visiting professor some years ago, they have a huge data set about this question of this, the conflict and disaster of different countries. Huge data set, like that. Also, some people in Essex in England, they have the fantastic work about this global warming and its effect in Africa. And so, Catholic University of Louvain in Belgium is a source where you can get in touch with them and ask them, I want the data for disaster in different countries. And then this question of, this is, I'm very interested. Natural disaster and political instability and natural disaster, they're very related. What type of government you have? Is it a responsible government, or this is a dictatorship, political instability and natural disaster? How you can change the political attitude of the people there, so that if there is a natural disaster, for example, in Brazil, the president said there's no problem of conflict, the COVID-19, in Brazil, and so many people was getting killed in Brazil, but he said no. He said there's no problem, And so that political instability and natural disaster, climate change and political conflict, because these natural disasters sometimes used as a weapon to control some groups of people within the country, are using the state and political structure of the country, And then, but also there's some literature. For example, I am organizing a meeting in Colombia, South America, on disaster management leading to peace. I see this is a very interesting thing. Many people say the disaster is not bad. Disaster, when you get disaster, everything starts new. and that's good for people. And the same thing is happening in Colombia, in South America, about disaster management, and which leads to peace. I'm not that in favor of getting peace by making a disaster and making man-made disaster or natural disaster. But it is true that there's a natural disaster, there's a devastation, water, and so on and so forth, and question of natural global warming, and sometimes creates a new way of thinking, a new way of making cities less vulnerable. I organized a meeting in New York City there recently on the question of the New York City, because if there's a global warming, they say the fantastic devastation it will do for New York City, particularly the Wall Street, stock market area, and what to do that. So disaster and development is another subject which many people have discussed here. Then this question of peacekeeping. See, globalization and peacekeeping, the peacekeeping, as you know, in Africa, not only in Africa, in India or Pakistan, the peacekeepers and globalization, their approach is a big subject. I know the people who are working in the area of economics of peacekeeping, how the strategies of peacekeeping can be used to control, not only for fighting, not only for, terrorism, not only for, of course in Africa, not only Africa, everywhere, whole area is having a devastation, terrorism and so on and so forth. So there is such a thing called political economy of natural disaster. Another subject area, a lot of people are working, economics, politics, and so on and so forth, how is related to disaster, and also what can you do in the politics point of view with natural disaster. And then a question of, you see, problem in Africa, not only in Africa, in other places, is a question of poverty, inequality, injustice between different groups of people. And there are also, this is horizontal inequality. That means it has between different, groups of different types of people within the country. Or also there is question of vertical inequality, rich people and poor people, in both horizontal and inequalities. So there are a lot of work has been done in question of inequality, a question of even in the United States, is a very rich country, but it's not the index of inequality is very high. The index of inequality is very high. And there is a list by United Nations, UNICEF. They have a list of indices about what country is more unequal and compared to other countries. It's not necessarily United States is the most unequal country. It's not true. It's not true. It's very here, inequality is very high. And socioeconomic inequality and war and gender, of course, is a very important thing, women. This is also an important thing. This is the people who are women, they suffer more in the disaster. And it's a very important thing to how people can take steps to see that that is not the case. India, for example, the caste system, there are 4 types of caste. This is a very bad thing for many years. Still it is there, caste system, different types, 4 castes. You see, and people who are lower caste, they get less help, less direction at the time of disaster compared to people who are higher caste. Religion, of course, the same thing. The people in a country where religion is a minority, they get less disaster, less help than people who are in the major countries. You know these things. I don't have to tell you that, So my thing is, I'm not a politician. I don't want to I have no political philosophy in my mind. But what I want to do, I want to use the statistics, mathematics, artificial intelligence, then data system, data analytics, and how those things I can use, which has been used in management science, but only for business people who make money. I want to use this for this, against this unequal system in different countries which are related to disaster. And then here, violence, economic development and violence. Economic development is okay, but what is happening to the people? And also resources and ethnic war. In Africa, you have ethnic war. I don't have to tell you, this, the ethnic war between different groups of people. And here is a source of Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, for us in India. You also the same thing in South Africa, the person, who South Africa, Gandhi of South Africa, and the ethnicity and conflict, they're very related. So the very important thing where I'm interested is called the spatial inequality and conflict. I have also another second area of interest. One is peace science, which is conflict and so on. Also regional science, space, geographical area. If you are in cities, what is the situation? If you're in the villages, if you are in Zanzibar or whatever, what is the situation? Geographical space and conflict and disaster. These are very important subjects. Transportation and so on and so forth. So you can see in my books I have written, I have also the edited books, including the edited books, about 32 books. You can look what I am saying about the space, geographical space and inequality. I know it's getting economic growth, and economic growth and conflict. For example, in India, they say the 9% growth every year. But what do you mean growth for whom? Growth for whom? For groups of people who already have many things, and group of people who don't have anything. The finance and inequalities is a very important subject. How the financial system, finance. I'm a professor in management school. I taught finance in Wharton School. So how to use finance, accounting, and like that in such a way that it reduces the inequality. International finance is a very important subject. It's a very important subject. United Nations is a very important subject. Then the question of World Bank, then one of International Monetary Fund. They're very important subject. How to use the financial techniques of we learn and we teach in the Wharton School and here in every business school. Also, you have the business school in Africa. That's another thing I want to tell you. I'm not saying anything bad compared to what the type of business school are coming up in different countries. Africa is lagging behind because in India, of course, a poor country, but the quality of education in management education is very high. That I am a distinguished professor at an Indian Institute of Management. The top is like Harvard of India. You see, and there the way they teach, the type of things they teach, it's not the same thing which you teach in Africa. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's not African. We do not have a reputable management schools. They not only discuss the business management, but also management of society. We do not have. So if there's a political implication of inequality, of course, if this inequality will go more, then there will be disaster, political system. In education, the same thing, Then also the question of even for the people who are anthropometric, that means who are short. In Africa, some people are very tall, some people are very small. So a lot of work has been done about the inequality and injustice between the different structure of the people there, the small people, long people, like that. So Nepal, the same thing. North Korea is also another thing, the question of North Korea. So these are the things, here. And then the question of Africa, you see, and this contain, and we have, I don't have to tell you, in Africa, it is, maybe people say that it is the highest in the world. That doesn't matter, highest or lowest. It is everywhere. In inequality and grievance and civil war in Africa, whole history of Africa for the last 35, 30, 40 years is a history of civil war between different countries, and then scarcity, conflict, and cooperation. What is scarcity? In many countries, you do not have scarcity because it's the scarcity made by some interested people, so common people are suffering. Not because we don't have rice, not because we have wheat, they have enough, but this is being used by the business organization to make money. And so we can see what we can do to have the governmental or attitude and programs so that it does not happen the way. Then the growth and inequality, for example, as I told you before, that India is doing very well, 9%, highest in the world now, even more than China, highest growth. But inequality also increasing very high. So what is growth is not the only thing. Inequality between different people in their social economic justice, this is the most important thing. And then we have this is long term. You see, this is supposed. I have discussed in many areas, many places, but I decided not to do that about this COVID-19. COVID-19. What is COVID-19? What it can do? And of course, geography is a very important subject of COVID-19. People who are contiguous, between each other, they get more disease than people who are not. Geographical space and COVID-19 is a very important subject. And also the question of mental health, for example, is a very important, very interesting thing. I look for the articles about mental health and COVID-19. I didn't see any article on mental health and COVID-19 in Europe. Maybe I did not see enough. Maybe it is there. Maybe the University of Ghana, they have this type of work. Now this question of India's path to big leagues. You know that United States is number one, China number two, maybe I don't know, Russia 3, whatever, India 4th, or like that. But you see, to show the path to big leagues, to belong to the big league, sometimes is the goal of the politicians there, to show that India is very good. I'm talking about India because I'm basically an Indian to start with. That's not the big league. The objective is not to remember the big league. The objective will be to be good to all peoples, irrespective of their religion and irrespective of their caste, irrespective of the gender, irrespective of geographical thing where they're living, irrespective of the political structure what they're making. This should be the goal for a post-pandemic political landscape. And the role of peace science, if you look at the journal of it, I used to I established a journal, Conflict Management and Peace Science. You go to the library and see, or you can Google, you can politically, now I do not edit it, I used to use it for a long time. That's the number one journal for the last 30 years, 40 years, called Conflict Management and Peace Science. You see what type of thing we do there. So now the global warming and this question of this COVID-19 is not the end. It will be like that for the future. It will be like that future over and over again. And then we have to know what to do if we analyze things, not only just from point of view of epidemiology or medicine or like that, but also from one point of view of social, political, and economic structure of the country. And this is very related to foreign policy and nuclear arms, securing cyberspace, and then the question of artificial intelligence, democracy, and internationally, these things are all same thing in all of, for example, many countries. Like, for example, I have been invited to have a meeting in Doha, in Middle East. The big problem in Middle East is, the big problem in India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, like that. So all these things can be handled together. These are the management science, technology, and innovation. This is also very important. Look at my book on technology, society, and conflict. Technology is dealing with a lot of conflict, different types of conflict. Environmental science, question called mental health, data analytics, big data, data mining, artificial intelligence, a very, very, very important thing. I know I have many students in Africa. They're brilliant students. They are not inferior. They data analytics, big data, data mining. They know all this stuff. But problem is that I did not see yet that type of publications and that type of work coming from African universities. And here, I think this is the end of my presentation. I'm sorry, maybe I said something which. Health science, epidemiology, social behavioral science, technology, environmental science, mental health. So my objective of this presentation today, first, I think it is more important for you to know what is happening in the area of peace studies, which is important for George, maybe not follow, but we will information. Not just Africa, India, South America. I'm involved in all that stuff of the last 25, 30 years. And I have involved with people who are top, who are Nobel laureates, for example, Jan Tidbergen was number one who got from Netherlands the Nobel Prize in economics. I organized a meeting in the Hague International Court of Justice on a question of military spending and development. Military. She was very interested because you see, we spend so much money and time in military. United States have 60% of the total military expenditure in the United States. Not only that, then India, for example, spending so much money to fighting with Pakistan, and the people are starving. So this is a very important subject in my books. Not only in my books, other books they're talking about the military expenditures and development. It's a very important subject. I did not see what in Africa people doing this type of thing. Maybe I did not look enough. Technology, environmental science, mental health, and so on. So this is the last one, right? Let's see. Yeah, these are the things. If you have any questions, I think I talked a lot, and I can, answer as I try to answer these questions. Okay, George, thank you for inviting me, and let us keep in touch. If I can help you, I think. With connections, I have lots of connections internationally, not only here or in Poland, in Finland, in Europe, in Africa, in Manila, in Indonesia, So I can give this context to you because your thing is mostly, so far I can see, is mostly Eurocentric, European things, most of the webinar, But there's a great possibility that you can extend this to other countries.
Thank you very much indeed, Manas, for this inspiring presentation. I wish that you could speak longer. And of course, I will ask you another time to please talk to us and discuss some of these issues at length. It's a learning process for everyone. And I'm sure that the participants here have also learned quite a lot today from your presentation. And especially, the number of things that you are doing. And I didn't actually also tell them that last week, I was at a webinar that you invited me to, and it was interesting that, I had to do it in a bus station because I was traveling. Maybe I didn't tell you this, but now I'm at home. I just arrived this morning in Tanzania.
Yeah.
So after a long trip.
You came quickly and I could not organize. I could have organized. For example, I'm a distinguished professor. I was a distinguished professor at George Mason University before. I was, not now. But I could have had a big, I'm trying to organize a Mahatma Gandhi. We have the center, Mahatma Gandhi Center in India. I did that for 10 years, 15 years ago. I wanted to have another center like this, maybe, I don't know which university, maybe George Mason University, or Dr. Souls, or I forgot, I don't know him.
Lester Kurtz.
He's interested.
Yes, right, yeah. We'll organize another thing, another time, another presentation. So I would like now to invite, yes, please continue.
Kindly circulate the information about my meeting of this to all your contacts in Africa. At this time, there are about 100 people, but I think ultimately it will be 200 people, okay? Mostly it was Zoom.
Right, that's right. And I just wanted to point out that, we have, for example, here today, we have got some people like Ian Fry there in Australia, which is probably midnight. And and of course, Clara there in Argentina is also quite early, some of your neighbors. So this is really very, very international. I can see some of my neighbors in Kenya, etc., and Nigeria and Mozambique. So it's really wonderful that we are meeting together at this time and this platform. So I would like to invite people for comments, questions, or contributions. Please, you are welcome. You can, of course, also, as you always, put a question in chat, and we will read it out.
George, may I make
yes,
one
please,
comment?
Ian, please. Yes, please, Ian.
Dr. Manners, I missed the first 25 minutes of your address, for which I apologize, but commitments are commitments and they cause problems. But I might have missed where you had the early emphasis on in your address, but in the later part, I was delighted to hear you put the emphasis on planning peace to enable development programs to proceed in human development, not to maintain the status quo of existing management practices. This is just so important, and the world should understand it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian, for that comment. And some more comments or questions? So probably you could also mention the upcoming conference, because I think it's very important, and also for Africa, but for everybody really. If you could say something more about the conference, please.
Yeah, I think I will do a special effort for your organization to get in contact with the Cornell University, which is very top university, and they have a center for research in African studies. I know them very well, so that they can get in touch with you, about your program. And so, in fact, I send you lecture to them to circulate to their people. I think what you really do, this is very universal. But I have a feeling I should not criticize. It is not. You have to exchange the boundaries of what you are saying, what you are doing there. That's not from Africa. For the boundary is universal. What I was saying. And I can help because I know I have been to major university in Europe, in Japan, other places. I have contacts in there, so I can send them, to get into Africa. I'm telling you this. I went to Africa, beautiful country. People are very nice, and also the question of resources, the question of this is very high. But problem is you do not have institutions. That's the problem. That's the problem. I don't know how to do that.
Right. Yes. Building institutions.
Yeah.
It's very important for sure. Right. And George, please, could you proceed?
Yes. Let me thank Prof for the presentation. I also missed the first 45 minutes because I had another engagement somewhere. And I initially expressed my interest to do a presentation for in his workshop in early next year. I sent him a reminder on email, but I'm yet to get a reply from him. Yeah, but he made a comment that he's been to Africa. Africa is a nice country and it's a continent. So I don't know which part of Africa you visited, because that is the mistake people normally have. It's a big continent. So maybe if you visited the East, that is not the only part of Africa, or the West, because they have each country has its own development issues and challenges and political issues. So I don't know which kind of African country you visited, Prof, that you may want to share with us, because where I come from Ghana, and I'm in Germany doing my PhD. So so that maybe we can talk more, and maybe I'll reserve some of my comments. When we meet next year in the workshop, and then after my presentation, we can dialogue more. Thank you, Prof, for the nice presentation.
I think in Africa, Ghana, the center of the Ghana with the Secretary General, I forgot his name, the Ghana.
Kofi Annan, the late, yeah.
That's, I know some people there. In Kenya, I have, then Nigeria, I have. And then a question of Portugal, they have a center for African studies. They're doing the West African small countries. And also I have extensive contact in the North Africa, in Egypt, and also in, again, what do you call this, on the west side in Atlantic, those countries. And then, inside Africa, Congo and that type of thing, I did not I did not personally go, but I am involved in the question of the greed for diamond and political and conflict. And many people are working on that area. I see that central part. I went to South Africa. I was there, and then I was involved with the not the what do you call this? Which is the South African president? Mandela. I did not see Mandela, but Mandela's Mandela Center's director.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there in Mandela, and they have, say, a program in England about with Mandela. Not Mandela, but Mandela, person who was advising him. I forgot the name. I was there, and then Africa is a very big country, but Kenya, I told you before, and then Australia. I mentioned Australia. We have a lot of action in Australia. We did this before, and then New Zealand. I was there. They're not in Africa, I know, and then Egypt. I have. Egypt, I've been there, but lots of problems there. And you talk about Argentina, because we are meeting in Israel, about the peace science meeting. I was part of organizing, and there I organizing a similar meeting in Argentina this summer. I'm not going there, but I'm involved with that place, and so. And I am very involved with the European place, Germany, for example, and then also in Scandinavian countries, in Norway, Denmark, and I have lots of contacts there. So that's what I'm saying that and also very important thing which the Pope, the Catholic universities, and they are very much involved with this question of spirituality and ethics and that type of thing. And although George's University is a Catholic university and so on and so forth, but that is extremely important, for you to contact my friend in Budapest, and maybe we can have a meeting on ethics and spirituality and peace in your place. See. I'll give you the address. I think it's a great thing, because we had a meeting like this, and then Pope himself wrote a statement about blessing, that meeting. You need that, and Catholic University, it's very important thing.
Thank you so much for that reply, Manas. Can I go to Afiz, please?
Thank you, Dr. George.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the presentation, and thanks to Prof for the analysis about the disasters in Africa, because I can see that in the presentation, most of the case studies is centered on Africa. So even the COVID-19, talking about the economic lapses, is centered on Africa. But my point is that if we can distinguish between natural disaster and man-made disaster, and all these has been the disasters that we need to manage, how can we, and then talking about the economic, talking about the education inequality, so what is going to be the resolution? What is going to be the solution to this crisis and disaster that you have pointed out, that you have suggested for us, that's actually centered on Africa? Because in all your presentation, I don't see any of the suggestion that has to be with solution or some step that we can take to begin to be experiencing solutions to African problem in terms of.
You see, Africa does not need money. Africa is a very rich country. The problem is the people and government of Africa, they do not are taking steps. This is a very rich country. I know African, you have a situation, but the thing is, institution, universities, technical place, this type of thing, we have to develop more, and you should not depend on other countries or international countries to do that. You can do it very well, Africa. India is going to do that because India has so many people, 3 billion people. In Africa, it's not like the other countries. So I think what you have to do, you have to education is very important for Africa, which really do not have any higher education system in Africa, except in South Africa, South Africa. But South Africa is not like a representative of Sub-Saharan Africa. And also, number one thing, which is more political, is a question of political system, economic system, and the fighting between different tribes and tribal thing. That is very extremely important that's why Gandhi's problem, Mahatma Gandhi's situation is very speech. Is very important. Gandhi philosophy of Gandhi, what I did from India. I think that is very relevant for Sub-Saharan Africa, and that what he said now is happening in South Africa. He started with Mandela, but now it's happening in South Africa. But problem is the political situation in Africa is the number one, constraint by which all these good things which you are saying is going to happen, see. And I don't think it should depend of, the support of other countries in Europe or America or like that to reach, because Africa already is a very rich country, already a very rich country. You do not know how to use these rich things for the benefit of the people. And that is more important,
Thank you. But in addition, you said we shouldn't depend on support of other countries, especially the European countries. What I'm trying to fine-tune or bringing out of your point is that, is there any technical analysis or idea that you can use to solve this problem, apart from the leadership problem that we have, that you just mentioned now?
I think what you really need, for example, the business people. Business is a driving thing in the United States and everywhere. But you see, you do not have African business. Whatever you have is a foreign business working in Africa. You see, but what you need is to give African initiative, African policies, African good institute of management in Africa. So you do not have. Tell me, where you have a good management school in Africa? As far as I know, I don't think so. They will have any. You see, that's the thing. I mean, even the school in South Africa, I was there. Their management education is very, very, very weak. But you see, you need a good management school and to establish there. And you have, I think this is happening. But the problem they're facing is the problem between the United States and China about the question of Ethiopia or like that. That type of thing is always mixed up with political things. I think education is the most important thing for your country, and you have to copy the type of thing which are doing in developed countries in Europe and United States about the education, and managerial education, institutions. This one, and also a question of leadership. That's very important. I don't know in other countries, tribalism, fighting, ethnicity. This is ruining the continent of Africa.
Thank you so much. What part of Nigeria did you visit, Prof?
Huh?
What part of Nigeria did you visit? When you said you visited, you have been
to the south.
Nigeria.
University is a capital in the south.
South,
Nigeria,
or southeast or south.
The capital of Nigeria is not Lagos, but the I forgot the name. You know, the capital is the south of you know. They are
Abuja. That's Abuja.
Abuja. They have a
Yes.
journal. They have a journal on economic development and this, and I'm one of the editors of the journal.
Okay, thank you. That's the middle of middle north.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I will work on your suggestion and idea and advice. Thank you so much.
I can do anything. Yeah, what I can do, which is I have a lot of contacts, I told you before, and they are hungry for knowing and helping and doing something in Africa, you see. But sometimes they're afraid to do that because of different problems, you know.
No, I can get your contact to Dr. George.
Right.
So, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. This has been a very nice conversation, and we still have some time, so we can ask or make other contributions.
Yeah, just one question regarding the conference or the seminar next year. So, Prof, when likely are we supposed to get notification in terms of, because the visa processing and all that? Because I'm working on my presentation, and then I sent you an email, but I'm yet to hear from you. Sometimes these things can drag. So the visa application process, the earlier the better, so that I don't always like to do things at the last minute because you have no control over things. So I just wanted to follow up. When are we likely to get approval, or because you need to send out some invitation letters?
I think I gave George the announcement which is circulated, and there's an announcement. You just write your name, you know, address and like that, and give me a. You don't have to come to America. It's too expensive. You can do it by Zoom, you know. And, and it will be very good. I'm telling you, if you have time, it will be the write a paper on this conflict, this COVID-19, you know, this impact on COVID-19 in socioeconomic structure in Africa or in your country, whatever it is. So that will be very much affected. I have India, for example. I have other Europe. I have United States, you know, but I don't have anybody from Africa. Is a big thing. The people that come from Africa to Cornell, maybe you know many of them, you know. I will see. I'm getting old, so the number one person in Africa, a person who used to be in Binghamton before, you know, he died. You know his name. He had a 13 episode of Afrikaners, you know, in the TV. I am just forgetting. You know his name. He was a professor.
Dr. Mazrui?
Is
that
Mazrui. You know his name?
Alima Mazrui.
Yeah.
Ali, yes.
He is Abadi. He is on here. He was my good friend, but he died recently, about 5-6 years ago. He was also, and also he's a professor at Cornell. And I went with him in Italy in a meeting, and he's a great author, a great scholar, you know, and Mazrui, you know, I forget his name. I don't know whether you know his name. M-A-Z-U-R-I,
Yes.
Mazrui, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Ali Mazrui
was at Binghamton. I
Yeah.
think you may be talking about Alamin Mazrui, who was a younger brother or possibly a cousin of Ali. I don't know where Alamin is now, but I know that Ali died 6 or 7 years ago. There were two of them.
Yeah, but it's Ali Mazrui, right? It's Ali Mazrui.
Yes, it's Ali Mazrui. Yeah.
If we're alive, then he'll be about 80 years old. You know, he died about 10 years ago. But it's not all Mazrui. The good thing on Mazrui is Mazrui, not only Africa, he has a great knowledge of India and other places. You know, he's a really scholar person. You know, He's not a politician. He's a philosopher. He's, he's from Africa. He's from Uganda, I think, in the beginning. Uganda, like that, And this is a great man. And also he was not only a professor here at Binghamton, he was the New York University 67 centers, New York University, 67 centers, Binghamton, then and then Buffalo, Stony Brook, like that. And then he was a professor of not only Binghamton, but also all of New York University. He was a very well-known person.
Thank you very much indeed, Manas, for this interesting
Let us keep in touch.
Reply.
Because many of the papers, I gave you before, you did not have time to look. There are 32 volumes have been published in the edited book. This is number 1. You can go to Google and find out, and then I hope many of the papers will be published. They are not accepted as they have to refereed papers. And in the coming after the meeting, 2-3 volumes or 2 volumes, and I hope somebody from your group, have a paper specifically, centered to Africa.
Good. I hope that people will make contributions and present them right for the conference.
George.
Yes, please.
Although it's late, but I want to say something. Sorry, my name is Ben, but it's the name of, I'm using the laptop of my wife. Sorry for that. Thank you for your presentation, Professor. But you mentioned that you are not a politician, but what is happening in the Congo, you mentioned that as well, where we have the huge contingent of UN troops, because you were talking about disaster and also the peacekeepers. What can we do, honestly, to change the situation in the Congo? Because UN troops are there since 20 years, and now there are allegations, strong allegations, that they are deeply, there are troops even from India, because you were talking about India. There are troops from all so poor countries. I don't know why they send only people from poor countries out there. And these are people who are making mess there. And recently, I don't know if, because the media don't talk about this, I don't know if you heard about what is happening. The population is fed up, and the population are now killed by UN themselves. Because people are asking them to get out of the country. They are involved in, there are strong allegations that some of the troops are involved in these minerals Congo is so rich of. So what can be done if people who came to help are those who are also doing the mess?
You see, the peacekeeping, I have some contacts in Canada. They have an annual meeting, and they have an annual meeting coming up. And there's a big group of people who are discussing the question of economics of peacekeeping and politics and so on. The problem in peacekeeping is that they select people in the peace. You can see none of them are from Europe or America or like that. They are from countries which are poor, where the people there which are not mostly educated, and they do not know what to do. They have only a gun in their hand. You see, that's a problem. The treatment and education of the peacekeeping people, they did not have this in United Nations. Peacekeeping in United Nations is number 1 item of United Nations financially. But there you see, but who are the people in the peacekeeping member? Who are these peacekeepers? None of them are from developed countries. They are from poor countries. They want to do their job or like that. And and also, I don't think that this is any racial thing between Congolese people and the people who are the peacekeeping. I do not think so, because most of these people who are the peacekeepers, they are themselves are minorities in their own countries. See, they have that. So, and also many of them are not so good educated people, and the training and all this stuff. They give the money for them to do a job, but it requires a lot of training and preparation for these peacekeepers, which they don't have. So I was on a meeting in Canada about that, and a person who is very much involved in peacekeeping, he said the same thing, that the peacekeepers themselves, they do not have any idea that what is peace. They have a gun in their hand, and when there's a problem, they shoot the gun. This is happening there. See. That's the thing they need. The peacekeepers in United Nations, the in charge person, I knew them before, about 10 years ago. They have lots of money, see. They give the money as a salary of the people who are going to have peacekeeping other countries, But they don't have enough training and to tell them what you are supposed to do. That's the main problem of the peacekeeping in Congo.
Thank you.
Any suggestion for the way how to drive them out of the Congo? That's what he asked you.
What?
Is there any suggestion how to drive the peacekeepers that are doing the mess in Congo? Is there any way to drive them out of the country?
But you see, if you have the not peacekeeper, there are peacekeepers between India and Pakistan, in that Kashmir border there. If many people are saying if there are no peacekeepers, in Congo or any countries, there will be disaster between the different contesting group of the two countries. So, I think, insofar I know, I am not a politician. I'm a professor. I am a statistician. I'm a mathematician. I have nothing to do with politics. I don't know anything. But I think it appears that if you do not have peacekeepers, and then this will be a disaster for all those countries between different groups of people. But there is some problems about peacekeepers killing people. I know that in our newspapers and so on. But if they don't have peacekeepers, then it will be much, much more disaster within the contesting countries, parties.
Yeah, I think as academia, you may say something. You can contribute to write maybe an article about what is or even to make a research about what I'm talking about, because it's too much, because UN troops are accused to be there just to help the war to continue, because they have slogans like no salary, no war, no money, no war, no salary, meaning you have to fight so that we keep staying here, we keep our job, we keep doing what we want to do. So in that kind of philosophy, we don't know who will help then.
Oh, but the people in Congo of different parties, they have to come together and have peace. That's the most important thing. The people, what is the problem in Congo? Not only Congo, India, whatever. It is the contesting party that's in negotiation. We in academia, we teach a course on negotiation and that type of thing. I teach a course on negotiation, how to negotiate, negotiator like that. It is not a random thing. There is a subject in management science, the question of negotiation, just like we have in a business and workers and like that. So this type of training of negotiation to the contesting party will be very helpful, very helpful, because both sides suffer, the same. That's I'm saying that these techniques of management science is very important, how to negotiate a contract between the workers and the management, you understand? I mean, I don't know.
It's time, but I understand, but the situation of the Congo is beyond all that, because it's an economic war, and even if people come together for negotiation, there are these forces from above, imposing this insecurity. It's well-organized insecurity happening there.
Yeah,
so it's
because the people in Europe, for example, in Brussels and also in Amsterdam, they're doing a lot of work about this question of diamond, and the conflict. Diamond, you see, the Congo, is known for the diamonds and like that. And this is the thing. This is the main source of income of many people there. You see. So I'm not a politician. I don't have any political thinking. But I think one thing: the negotiation, peace, conflict management techniques, theory conflicts, good feelings, religion, whatever religion is there. These are more important things to have conciliation between different countries. You cannot impose it from outside, you understand? The people, they have to do it by themselves.
Thank you. I'll come back to you later. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much indeed for all these wonderful questions and for the wonderful answers also from Manas, our speaker for today. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you once again, Manas, for this brilliant presentation today and discussion. And I would like to thank also the participants. So as I said earlier, that we're going to invite you to speak to us again. We'll just discuss this, between us. And but as usual, please invite also your colleagues to come, because whenever I hear such wonderful presentations, then I wish the whole world was listening. Yeah, so thank you very much indeed. And we're going to stop here unless you have a final word.
It's the first time I hear something about peace and all this, a person like you. I mean, this is really courageous. You say your subject is not peace science. Your subject is in development studies or something like that. But you see, in development, lots of things. My friend, maybe you don't know his name, Amartya Sen, S-E-N, Sen. He's a Nobel laureate in economics. He's very famous man, Nobel laureate in economics.
Right.
And he's in Harvard. He was the president of Cambridge University in England. Sen. You are in development. So you can look at the Google, S-E-N, Amartya Sen. And
I know him.
Yeah,
right.
you know him, right?
Yes.
He's my good friend. We went to the same college in Calcutta, in Presidency College. They say that this is #1 in India, not because I am there, but all the leaders of India, they are educated in Presidency College in Calcutta. Calcutta is a source of knowledge, But India, I'm Indian, but I am also from Calcutta. And Amartya Sen was I think 3 or 4 years older than me, and he was everywhere. He's great, I'm nothing.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's meet again next Wednesday, the same time, using the same link.
And also you give me 3, 4, 5 sessions from Africa, for my meeting. You can promise me, not only from Tanzania, but other places, this, particularly on COVID-19, okay.
Right.
I help for you.
Thank you. I promise that. All right, then thank you very much indeed, everyone, and have a good day, a good evening.
Same thing.
Thank you.
Right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Namaste.
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 Bye.
Asanteni sana. Nice evening.
Asante.